Welcome to Beatsource Tech. My name is Mojaxx and today I'm holding a microphone, and that's because that's what we're reviewing. It's the GLX-D Plus system from Shure. When it comes to wireless microphones for DJs, there are two main types of technology which are typically used. The first is UHF, or ultra high frequency, which is standard for more expensive high-end systems. UHF has some real advantages. There are lots of frequency bands available to use, which means you can run many mics simultaneously without issue, and it doesn't need massive antennas to achieve a very wide range. However, as UHF frequencies are also used by other industries, there are always some restrictions when it comes to licensing, power, and it's hard to travel with UHF systems, as different countries have varying frequencies that you're allowed to use. All of this means that UHF can get very expensive. Then there are 2.4 GHz wireless systems, which tend to be the more affordable options. These operate in the same frequency range as typical Wi-Fi, and therefore there are no issues with licensing, but that does bring its own challenges. There are lots of devices all around you using the same tech, and so even smarter systems which have intelligent channel switching can run into problems with interference in Wi-Fi heavy environments. This is not a problem which is purely confined to 2.4 GHz systems by any stretch though. At the last DJcity UK link-up in London, we needed 4 mics on stage, and so we borrowed a 4-channel rig which was from W Audio, and that was a UHF system, but we still ended up with constant dropouts. I also just recently picked up a budget 2.4 GHz wireless lav mic for making videos with from Hollyland. I'd spotted it was the one which James Hype uses in his vlogs, and that does give me occasional dropouts in the studio. That's not entirely surprising. In my office building there are about 20 Wi-Fi networks. But what is surprising then is that I've been using the Shure GLX-D Plus wireless system in the same environment for months now without a single dropout. Why is that? Well, the original GLX-D system was 2.4 GHz only, but the version with the plus suffix, which debuted at the NAMM show last year, is dual band. It operates on both 2.4 GHz and 5.8 GHz frequencies, which more than doubles the available bandwidth, and it has smart frequency management, which monitors the spectrum continuously and seamlessly moves to a clean channel whenever there is interference. I'll come back to performance, but before that let's talk configurations and pricing. Like any good wireless system, the GLX-D Plus is available as a package, but also works in a modular fashion. So Shure sent me the wireless vocal system, which comes with the GLX-D 4 Plus receiver and a handheld mic with an SM58 capsule. This has a street price of around $549 in the US, which is very much in the middle of the market. It's certainly not budget, but a lot more affordable than a full-on UHF rig from the company. The package comes with a decent quality carrying case, the mic, the receiver, a microphone clip, a power supply, and a single battery, everything you need to get started. And then of course you have numerous other options. A similar vocal package with the Beta 58 instead, which goes for around $610. There is another transmitter, the rack mount GLX-D4R Plus, which is a little more expensive than the one I tested, but that will be better in situations when you need to run many mics at once, as it's rack mountable and compatible with the optional GLX-D Plus frequency manager. Then there is also the D6 Plus guitar pedal receiver and the $270 GLX-D1 Plus body pack transmitter, which I also had Shure send over to me. I decided to test that as I don't use a mic at my gigs that often, but I do make these videos every single week, and combined with the WL-185 lavalier mic, it meant I could test the system on a far more regular basis. And indeed I have been for months now. If you're a regular viewer of Beatsource Tech, you've been hearing the GLX-D Plus system in use for a long time. Welcome to Beatsource Tech. My name is Mojaxx, and today we return to the Master Sounds 4-valve Mark II rotary mixer. I did a first look video about this one when I initially received it a few months ago. Since then I've put lots and lots of hours into using it. Welcome to Beatsource Tech. My name is Mojaxx, and today we're looking at the Mixon 8 Pro from Reloop. This is a product which took an incredibly long time to actually hit store shelves after being announced at the NAMM show in 2022. Welcome to Beatsource Tech. My name is Mojaxx, and there's one rotary mixer manufacturer who I've been meaning to check out for quite some time, and that is Resor from Berlin in Germany. They've just announced their new mixer, the 2525FX. So as you can hear, that combo of the body pack and lav mic sounds really good. The WL-185 has a cardioid polar pattern, where most video mics have an omnidirectional pattern, but I really dig the more focused nature of the sound. So we're back to me holding the mic here in the lab because, of course, most of you watching this are DJs. The handheld option is what you're going to be choosing as part of this package. The mic in itself, it's called the GLX-D2 Plus Digital Wireless Handheld Transmitter. But the thing that will be familiar to many of you will be the capsule itself, which is a timeless classic, the SM58. I myself have owned at least 2 or 3 SM58s in the course of my career, so I kind of knew what to expect from the sound going into this, and it certainly has delivered that. It's a dynamic mic with a cardioid polar pattern, so it works very well in those louder environments that we deal with as DJs. The one thing I was slightly concerned about is that this microphone body is plastic. It's not metal like a wired SM58 and like some of the really expensive high-end wireless systems. So there was a bit of a concern about handling noise. Now I think, considering this is a mostly plastic mic, I think it handles it pretty well. You're going to need to keep your mic etiquette on point and don't go holding right at the top or anything like that. But in general, I think as long as you're pretty good with that kind of thing, it does deal with that handling noise very well. And as always, as I say, with an SM58, you know the actual pattern, the actual sound of it is going to work very well in those DJing environments. So yeah, overall, I'm very impressed with this handheld option. Coming back to the more technical aspects of the GLX-D Plus system, it really is plug and play. I've been going between the body pack and the handheld mic, and they both just connect automatically each time. You do have the option to manually link them and to choose different groups if you're using multiple mics and receivers. And you can also force the receiver to search for a different channel should you need to, although as I said, I've never once had any dropouts or connection issues, so I've never needed to use that. There are level controls to control the gain of the system, and you have plenty of information on the screen, including a pretty accurate battery life indicator. Connection-wise, there are both mic and instrument level outputs on the rear and a USB-C port for firmware updates. The power supply screws in, and I appreciate the security of that, and the power lead is nice and long too. Speaking of power, I'm very impressed by the whole battery setup with the system. It uses SB904 lithium-ion rechargeable batteries, which are a little larger than a typical AA. Shure claim the battery life is up to 12 hours, and in my testing I've been very much getting in the region of that. It will definitely vary according to usage and environment though. I do like how Shure don't really gouge you for spare or replacement batteries. They're around $40 each, and if you're a heavy user, I'd certainly recommend picking up an extra one. Partly because it's a good idea in general, but also because having the spring-loaded charge port on the front of the receiver means you can just have the spare sitting in there charging or charged with zero inconvenience. That's not the only way to charge the batteries either. Both the handheld mic and the body pack have USB-C ports to allow you to charge the battery in place. There is a dedicated charge sled available as an optional extra, but it's around $50, and with all the other ways to charge, it won't be needed for most users. Part of me does wish there was some kind of adapter to enable the use of AA batteries in an emergency, but overall I think the existing battery situation is comprehensive enough. The final thing to discuss is range, or how far you can get from the receiver before losing signal. One of the big advantages of UHF systems is that they do, if they're high quality, tend to have a much wider range than 2.4 GHz setups, and that is the case here. Outdoors, I got a little over 100 feet with the GLX-D Plus system, which is actually quite a bit over their specified range. They reckon 100 feet indoors and 60 feet outdoors. Shure's own UHF rigs typically have a range of 300 feet or more, so if you find yourself wanting more, that is going to be the way to go, but 100 feet is more than far enough for my needs. Just keep in mind that, like any 2.4 or 5.8 GHz wireless signal, things like walls will definitely have a big impact on that range. It's just the nature of the beast. So there you go, my thoughts on the GLX-D Plus dual band mic system from Shure. Overall, this has really impressed me, and I say that as someone who has had some pretty disappointing experiences with regular 2.4 GHz mic systems in recent times. Like, I have been fully let down by them, and I've had to go back to wired mics in those situations, and that is never what you want to see. But this one, whether here in the lab with lots of Wi-Fi interference or out and about at gigs, has never dropped connection, and that is the key, right? That reliability of connection is absolutely paramount when you're talking about a wireless system. This is not as high-end as some of Shure's other really pro-level kit. I mean, it wouldn't be at this kind of price, but I think that's the point, right? This sits somewhere in between your real kind of budget systems and the real high-end stuff, and I think the value for money is excellent. You're getting great sound from this SM58 capsule, great performance from the wireless. There's not much more really that I could ask for. The battery life as well, fantastic. The ease of charging, the fact you've always got a charger right there built into the receiver, that for me is an absolutely killer feature as well. So yeah, overall, this is a solid recommend from me, and I'd love to hear from you guys and girls in the comments about what kind of wireless systems you use, what have you got the best performance from, and what has let you down in the past. Thank you for watching this episode of Beatsource Tech. I do hope you've enjoyed it or found it useful. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you next time.